Thank you, and good morning to everyone. Before we begin the council session today, I would like to make the following announcement. Due to the continuing threat to public health from COVID-19, City Council is currently meeting remotely. We are using Microsoft Teams to make the remote meeting possible. Instructions for how the public may view the meeting and offer public comment are included in the stated meeting notice that was published in the Daily News, the Enquirer, and the Legal Intelligencer prior to the meeting, and can also be found on phlcouncil.com. I'll now note that the hour has come. The clerk will please call the roll to take attendance, and members that are in attendance to say a couple of words to make sure that your image is displayed on the screen. Mr. Decker, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass.
Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues, and the City of Philadelphia. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues. I'm present.
Good morning.
Councilman Dom.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, and the City of Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Garcia.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, and Philadelphia. President.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I am present.
Good morning.
Councilman Green. Councilwoman Gim.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I am present.
Good morning.
Councilman Johnson.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Sending out prayers to all the families who have lost loved ones to senseless gun violence.
Good morning.
Councilman Jones.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Philadelphia. I'm present.
Good morning.
Councilman O.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I'm present.
Good morning.
Councilman O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone.
Councilwoman Parker.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues in Philadelphia. I'm present.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez. Councilman Squilla.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, present.
Good morning.
Councilman Thomas.
Good morning, Council colleagues. Good morning, Council President. Good morning to the listening public. I'm present.
Good morning.
Council President Clark.
And good morning to us all. So we've established our quorum, so we're going to get started. To give our invocation this morning, the chair recognizes Reverend Eric Dobson, President, Planning, Seeds of Hope, and the Deputy Director at the Fair Share Housing Center. He is here today as the guest of Councilwoman Gim. I would ask all members and guests to please bow your heads for the invocation. Reverend, please proceed.
Thank you, Council President. In the spirit of brotherly love and sisterly compassion, let us pray. To the consciousness of life, God of many names, be in our hearts and minds as we come together today to pray for our nation, our state, and our city. We come today as a people whose faith has been shaken by the calamities in Buffalo, Uvalde, and Philadelphia over the past few weeks. Although we mourn for these families, they must forever live with the failures of our government to act Yet we remain hopeful that these same lawmakers will find the courage needed to protect all of our citizens by passing meaningful gun reform laws that bring about the blessings that no other family will have to bury their loved ones before the world get to experience their brilliance, love, and compassion. Let us know that each of us from our own traditions come together today in the spirit of unity, knowing that we are all part of an interdependent life force that calls us to heal each other and not destroy each other. Let us acknowledge and embrace our oneness. We pray for this city council today that they become loving and able stewards of this great city. We pray and acknowledge our differences, and we seek out our common ground, each of us working towards the good of all city residents, not just the privileged few or the politically connected, but for all. We recognize that there are political differences, which sometimes lead to tension and frustration. We pray that this council understands that tension can be used as a positive energy, which can be a conduit for action towards racial, economic, and social integration instead of segregation. We know that there is untold good amongst our city council and untold good amongst the folks who live in this city, who work every day for the benefit of all people. Let us stand with them. We pray that while we recognize the occasional loss of faith in people, we still must call upon the strength of our faith traditions, our ancestors, a higher power, or tap into our own interdivinity so that we might bring forth the greatness that exists in us all. Yes, let us see the work towards the city, see and work towards the city that it can be in spite of the way it is. Let us work to be the change that we seek. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Reverend. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Council President, good morning. I am present.
Thank you, Councilman Green. Let the record reflect, Councilman Green is present. And our next order of business is the approval of the journal of the meeting of Thursday, May 26, 2022. The chair recognizes Councilman Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, May 26, 2022 be approved.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly seconded that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, May 26, 2022 stand approved. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 And our journal is approved. And our next order of business is request for leave of absence. And the chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the members of council, there are no requests for leaves of absence today.
Thank you. The chair thanks the Councilwoman. And the chair again recognizes Councilwoman Parker for a motion concerning certain legislative matters that may arise during the course of today's session of council and that were not listed on the calendar circulated prior to today's session. Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that any of the following matters, if considered today, may be added to the agenda for this session of council and, as required by law, subsequently published on an amended agenda after the consideration of those matters: resolutions authorizing hearings, amendments to bills on first reading, the reconsideration of a bill vetoed by or recalled from the mayor, resolutions taking substantive action to be voted on in this session, a motion to withdraw a bill or resolution that is not on the calendar, and a motion placing a bill or resolution on or returning a bill or resolution from the suspension calendar that is not listed on today's calendar. The purpose of this motion is to provide the public with notice concerning possible actions by council that arose too late to be included on the calendar that was published prior to today's session.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the legislative matters stated by Councilwoman Parker may be added to the agenda for today should those matters arise during the course of the council session. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and the motion carries. And our next order of business is communications. I would ask Mr. Decker to please read the messages from the mayor or any other communication that he may have in his possession.
From the mayor to the president and members of the council of the city of Philadelphia, I am pleased to advise you that on June 1, 2022, I signed the following bills, which were passed by council at its session on May 19, 2022. Bill numbers 210685 AA and bill number 210802. And that on June 1, 2022, I signed the following bills, which were passed by council at its session on May 26, 2022. Bill numbers 220168, 220220, and 220359.
That it, Mr. Decker? Thank you. Thank you very much. And our next order of business is the introduction of bills and resolutions. And by way of a reminder, we're asking all resolutions, including privilege resolution, be placed on the final passage calendar for the next session of council unless they're being referred to committee. In our current remote environment, this procedure will provide the appropriate opportunity for public comment. I want to thank you very much in advance for your anticipated cooperation. Mr. Decker, please read the titles of the legislation that's being offered by members today.
Councilwoman Parker offers one bill and four resolutions. On behalf of Council President Clark, an ordinance authorizing Howard Foreman to install, own, and maintain various encroachments, including but not limited to a proposed fence and other structures at 1338 through 44 Rising Sun Avenue and other locations abutting the Caribbean Feast restaurant.
For the committee.
On her own behalf, Councilwoman Parker offers a resolution recognizing and congratulating Angela Val on being named the new president and CEO of Visit Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And on behalf of Council President Clark, Councilwoman Parker offers three resolutions entitled a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Land Bank deeds conveying title to 2342 North 27th Street, 2344 North 27th Street, 2346 North 27th Street, and 2348 North 27th Street, located in the 5th Councilmanic District. And a resolution authorizing the public property, the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to city-owned lots of pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 5th Councilmanic District. And a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to city-owned lots of pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 5th Councilmanic District.
Those three resolutions will be on next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson offers one bill and one resolution entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 10300 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Minors to revise the evening curfew hours.
For the committee.
And a resolution recognizing, honoring, and welcoming Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated on the occasion of its 2022 Grand Bull being held in the city of Philadelphia, July 18th through July 24th, 2022.
Next week's calendar.
Mr. President?
Oh, I'm sorry. I see. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Catherine Gilmore Richardson. Sorry, Councilwoman.
That's okay. Thank you so much, Mr. President. And thank you so much, colleagues. I just wanted to comment on this bill as introduced. But as we all know, our great city is struggling with horrific gun violence. And no one is suffering more in our city than our young people. We see young children being shot, caught up in violent incidents, and dealing with the trauma of shootings that happen in and around their communities throughout the city of Philadelphia each and every day. Our communities are under siege, and that is why today I'm introducing legislation to update the curfew for minors in the city of Philadelphia for the summer months. Young people between the ages of 16 and 17 who now have a curfew of midnight will also need to be home by 10 p.m. Under the auspices of this legislation. This bill would require every young person under the age of 18 to be in the house by 10 o'clock. Last year, I updated the minor curfew law to simplify the times and align them with state law. I also fought to create community evening resource centers over the last 20 months, safe spaces for young people to go to each and every day from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. that are run by trusted leaders in the community. And I want to pause there. This is not an issue that I started to talk about simply because of everything that was going on in our city this last week or over the last several weeks. Anyone that's been around for any amount of time knows how difficult it is to fund and stand up a program and operationalize that program within 20 months in the city of Philadelphia. And that's what I have been quietly working on for the last 2 years with our partners in the administration and my colleagues in city council, that I would not have been able to do this without. So I want to be very clear about that. This is not a new initiative because of everything that's going on. This is something we have been working on for the last several years. And now 300 young people have been serviced and served by these centers since their soft opening on December 20th. And dozens are regularly engaging in the programming offered at the community evening resource centers on a weekly basis. For the month of May, the young people at Dixon House participated in a Youth Appreciation Day with positive affirmations for community youth and families, a family fun fair with food and games and interactive activities and resources, and a new partnership with Philly Connects. At Community of Compassion in Southwest Division, there's a Cops, Kids, and Camera program, which is a partnership with the Philadelphia Police on Wednesdays to connect through photography. They also had a deeply rooted community fair, and they have new partnerships with the Community Asthma Prevention Program, CHOP, and Penn Medicine, all centered around the Community Evening Resource Center. Keep in mind that all of this is happening during the school year. But we knew months ago that now is the time to ensure we are prepared for summer, which is why I have been working with the administration for almost 2 years to get these centers established, up and running, and expanded across the city of Philadelphia. DHS is currently working to establish 2 more centers in Central and Northwest Division, and I am fighting for an additional center in Northeast Philadelphia. It is important to have coverage citywide, as a curfew violation in the Northeast cannot be taken to the curfew center in South or Southwest Philadelphia. But it still hasn't been enough. Over 90 children have already been shot this year, and 23 were shot between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Keeping young people off the street will help keep them safer, and connecting them to community resources can help us prevent further shootings. We know how deadly the summer has been in Philadelphia the past few years, and we must do everything we can to keep kids safe while they are out of school. Many of our resources and activities do not continue into the evening, but our resource centers are open every single day from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And we have wonderful centers like our PAL centers that are open into the evening, providing positive resources. And I'm asking each and every one of you, colleagues, to help us spread the word about the community evening resource centers and connect more young people to the centers. And I am hopeful that I can count on your support for this curfew bill for this summer. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Gim offers 1 bill and 1 resolution entitled an ordinance amending chapters 9-1300 and 19-1800 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled respectively real estate taxes and school tax authorization, by establishing a tax rate for city real estate tax and authorizing and establishing a tax rate for school district real estate tax.
For the committee.
And a resolution honoring and recognizing Carol Tracy Esquire for her profound achievements advancing the legal status of women and families through path-breaking litigation and advocacy, as well as her transformational leadership in the movement for women's rights in Philadelphia and across the nation.
Next week's calendar. I would like to, for the record, I believe Councilwoman Winona Sanchez is present now.
Yes, Council President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Let the record reflect Councilwoman Winona Sanchez is present. Go ahead, Mr. Jeffrey.
Councilman Jones offers 2 bills entitled an ordinance establishing a no truck parking regulation on both sides of Woodbine Avenue between 76th Street and 77th Street.
For the committee.
And an ordinance establishing a no truck parking regulation on both sides of Columbia Avenue between 59th Street and 60th Street.
For the committee.
Councilman Johnson offers 3 resolutions entitled a resolution honoring Dan Quiller on the occasion of his retirement for 34 years of excellence in broadcast and digital journalism at 6 ABC Action News on Philadelphia's WPBI TV.
Next week's calendar.
And a resolution authorizing the Special Committee on Gun Violence Prevention to conduct hearings to examine the city's response to the ongoing crisis of gun violence in Philadelphia.
Today's calendar.
And a resolution honoring the life and legacy of Philadelphia's first Black television reporter, Trudy Haynes, for her work breaking barriers for Black women in the field of journalism.
Council President.
Chair recognizes Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Council President. Most of us who have worked in this body have had the opportunity to interact with Ms. Trudy Haynes. Definitely an icon within her field, but most importantly, very, very classy, I'm going to say young lady. When I arrived in council, she sit like at the press table, always with a smile on her face. But most importantly, just handle herself, asking the tough questions, but also acting with a sense of class and personality. And so, Council President, can we give a moment of silence in honor of her life and memory?
Yes, we can. For a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Sanchez offers one resolution entitled a resolution honoring Superintendent Dr. William Height upon his departure from the Philadelphia School District and thanking him for his exemplary service to the students and citizens of Philadelphia over the past 10 years.
Thank you. Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Brooks offers one resolution recognizing June 15, 2022 as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day and further recognizing June 16, 2022 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day in the city of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman Dom offers two resolutions entitled a resolution congratulating world champion boxer and philanthropist Bernard Hopkins on his upcoming induction into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Mr. President, Councilman Dom would like to be recognized for a motion on this resolution.
Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. We all know Bernard Hopkins, and this Sunday he's going to be inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Pretty amazing accomplishment, especially for someone who was one of 7 children. At the age of 13, fell into a bad life of crime, violence, and gangs as a teenager. And ultimately, he was incarcerated at age 13. He learned how to box in prison. Came out, won several awards, was the champion of the U.S. many times in the world, and had an amazing career. 56 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws. But what's most impressive is, 1, he grew up in North Philadelphia, Council President, in your district, I believe. And 2, the work he's doing now, he's trying to help his lived experience and tell the story to young people to get them on the right track. To me, that's the real champion. So we congratulate him. And I'd like to ask Mr. President, we can move the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of this resolution on today's final passage count.
Take a second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that this resolution, rules of council be suspended to allow consideration on today's calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it. That resolution will be on today's final passage calendar. Mr. Decker, you're up.
I apologize, Mr. President.
No problem.
And a resolution honoring journalist, host, and co-executive producer Terry Gross and the Fresh Air team on their 2022 Peabody Institutional Award.
Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Gautier offers one resolution entitled a resolution honoring the life and legacy of trailblazing attorney Bernard Lee for his contributions to the practice of law and his dedication to mentorship, family, and friends.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman Thomas offers two bills and one resolution. On behalf of Council President Clark, an ordinance amending Chapter 12, 3000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Use of an Automated Red Light Enforcement System to Prevent Red Light Violations by authorizing the installation of red light enforcement systems at the intersection of 20th Street and John F. Kennedy Boulevard.
Committee.
Also, on behalf of Council President Clark, an ordinance amending Chapter 12, 3000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Use of an Automated Red Light Enforcement System to Prevent Red Light Violations by authorizing the installation of red light enforcement systems at the intersection of Kelly Drive and Eakins Oval.
Heard the committee.
And on his own behalf, Councilman Thomas offers a resolution authorizing the Streets and Services Committee to hold public hearings to examine the social and economic justice factors involved in potential redesign options of the Roosevelt Boulevard, one of the most dangerous roads in Philadelphia and the country, to make the boulevard a road where all Philadelphians can safely commute to home, school, and work.
Today's calendar.
Councilman O'Neill offers, on behalf of Council President Clark, an ordinance authorizing the procurement commissioner on behalf of the city to enter into an agreement with the Philadelphia Energy Authority to purchase electricity and certain attributes and benefits related to the generation of such electricity from a solar energy facility to be built and owned by Soleo USA P&E, located at Northeast Philadelphia International Airport, for use at and in connection with city facilities.
Heard the committee.
Councilman Squilla offers 3 resolutions. Entitled a resolution supporting the Pennsylvania Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250 PA.
Next week's calendar.
And a resolution also naming South 13th Street between Spruce and Locust Streets as Jeff Guaracino Way for his lifelong commitment to Philadelphia and the surrounding counties.
Next week's calendar.
And a resolution supporting the coordinating entity of the United States Semi-Quincentennial in Philadelphia, Philadelphia 250.
Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Bass offers 1 resolution urging the City of Philadelphia to reconsider the terms of the Atwater Kent collection transfer agreement between the City of Philadelphia and Drexel University in order to ensure adequate stewardship of the collection and protect the interests of the citizens of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman O offers 1 resolution entitled a resolution commemorating June 19, 2022 as Korean American Citizenship Day to celebrate the first naturalization of a Korean American in 1890.
Next week's calendar.
There are no other bills or resolutions being offered today by the members, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Decker. That concludes our introduction of bills and resolutions. And our next order of business is reports from the committee. And the chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker for a report from the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of the Whole reports out 1 bill and 2 resolutions with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. Please read the report.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, the Committee of the Whole, to which is referred Bill number 220444, entitled An Ordinance Amending Chapter 2500 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Councilmanic Districts, by revising the approximate population in each of the councilmanic districts to include state and county prisoner data. And resolution number 220544, entitled a resolution confirming the appointment of Sarah Ashley Andrews to the Board of Education of the School District of Philadelphia. And resolution number 220545, entitled a resolution confirming the appointment of Charles Wing Lam to the Board of Education of the School District of Philadelphia. Respectfully reports that it is considered the same and returns the attached bill and resolutions to council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. The chair again recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of Bill number 220444.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and probably second that the rule of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of Bill number 220444. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Have it. And that bill will be placed on our first reading calendar for today. Resolutions number 220544 and 220545 will be placed on our final passage calendar at the next session of council. Chair now recognizes Councilman Thomas for a report on the Committee on Streets and Services. And Council, I don't know if you're able to do that. I guess Councilwoman Parker
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. On behalf of Councilmember Thomas, the Committee on Streets and Services reports out 36 bills with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Decker, please read that report.
The Committee on Streets and Services, to which is referred Bill number 220188, entitled an ordinance authorizing the striking from City Plan number 269 and abandonment of a portion of a certain right-of-way for drainage purposes and water main purposes in the vicinity of the northwesterly side of Civic Center Boulevard, northeast of Osler Circle. And Bill number 220189, entitled an ordinance amending Section 11505 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled sidewalk paving and other improvements by property owners, to authorize the Streets Department to collect fees for costs incurred in reviewing plans for constructing ADA compliant sidewalks. And Bill number 220243, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 10700 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled refuse and littering, by adding new definition for third-party administrators and revising Section 10718 to sanction third-party administrators as enforcers of illegal dumping violations. And Bill number 220245, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 12900 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled parking regulations and penalties by regulating on-street parking of unpermitted semi-trailers and truck tractors. And Bill number 220246, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 12400 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled towing and immobilizing of parked or abandoned vehicles by adding new regulations for the towing and storage of illegally parked semi-trailer and truck tractors. And Bill number 220247, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 12800 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled administrative adjudication of parking violations by establishing monetary penalties for on-street parking of semi-trailers and truck tractors. And Bill number 220379, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 10700 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled refuse and littering, to further define short dumping and related violations and to revise penalties and remedies related to such offenses. And Bill number 220380, entitled an ordinance establishing park regulations in the vicinity of Bingham Street and Conley Street. And Bill number 220381, entitled an ordinance establishing park regulations in the vicinity of Clearview Street and North Broad Street. And Bill number 220382, entitled an ordinance establishing park regulations in the vicinity of Lawrence Street and Somerville Avenue, Ashdale Street and North 2nd Street, Vale Hill Street and Tabor Road, Chew Avenue and North 5th Street, Howard Street and Fisher Avenue, Tabor Road and North 5th Street, Elkin Street and North 7th Street, Somerville Avenue and North 4th Street. And Bill number 220420, entitled an ordinance amending Section 12701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled designation of bicycle lanes, to authorize bicycle lanes on Lindbergh Boulevard between 58th Street and 65th Street, and making associated changes to lanes of travel within the same limits. And Bill number 220453, entitled an ordinance amending Section 12701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled the designation of bicycle lanes, to authorize a bicycle lane on West Market Street from 20th Street to 23rd Street, and making associated changes to travel lanes and parking regulations within the same limits. And Bill number 220488, entitled an ordinance establishing no truck parking restrictions near various locations, including recreation centers, libraries, parks, and schools in the 9th Council District. And Bill number 220489, entitled an ordinance amending Section 2 of an ordinance, Bill number 180560, approved July 10, 2018, entitled an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades in a portion of City Plan number 250 by striking from the City Plan and vacating the legally open portion of Montour Street from Adams Avenue to Falkbride Street, by extending the period for compliance with the terms and conditions stated therein. And Bill number 220490, entitled an ordinance authorizing encroachments in the nature of a pedestrian underpass in the vicinity of 5700 through 30 City Avenue. And Bill number 220492, entitled an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades on a portion of City Plan number 375 by placing on the City Plan a certain portion of 67th Street previously stricken from the City Plan, extending southeastwardly from the present terminus of 67th Street southeast of Essington Avenue to connect with a presently disconnected portion of 67th Street which extends further southeastwardly to the Schuylkill River. And Bill number 220494, entitled an ordinance authorizing the striking from City Plan number 97 and abandoning of a right-of-way for drainage purposes and water main purposes in the vicinity of East Broad Street and extending from Washington Avenue to Carpenter Street. And Bill number 220495, entitled an ordinance amending Section 12701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled designation of bicycle lanes, to authorize a bicycle lane on Brace Ferry Avenue from 34th Street to Washington Avenue. And Bill number 220500, entitled an ordinance authorizing an existing bulk front addition at 401 through 407 East Wyoming Avenue. And Bill number 220501, entitled an ordinance delegating to the Philadelphia Streets Department the authority to regulate the direction of movement of traffic and establish parking restrictions on certain streets within the area bounded within the bounded area of Wyoming area to 9th Street, to Pike Street, to Rising Sun Avenue. And Bill number 220502, entitled an ordinance of regulating the direction of movement of traffic on Gillingham Street between Mulberry Street and Tackawanna Street. And Bill number 220503, entitled an ordinance regulating the direction of movement of traffic on Meadow Street between Paul Street and Frankfurt Avenue. And Bill number 220504, entitled an ordinance amending section 122700 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled permit parking districts by amending the boundaries for certain permit parking districts. And Bill number 220505, entitled an ordinance amending chapter 123000 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled use of an automated red light enforcement system to prevent red light violations, by authorizing the installation of red light enforcement systems at the intersection of Front Street and Hunting Park Avenue. And Bill number 220512, entitled an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades of the portion of City Plan number 246 by striking from the City Plan 51st Street from Woodland Avenue to its terminus southeasterly therefrom, and reserving and placing on the City Plan a right-of-way. And Bill number 220513, entitled an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades on the portion of City Plan number 269 by relocating the curb lines, reducing the cartway width, modifying the curb grades, and lowering the curb elevations of Osler Circle from Civic Center Boulevard to a terminus northwestwardly therefrom, and from Curie Boulevard to a terminus southeastwardly therefrom. And Bill number 220514, entitled an ordinance establishing no truck parking regulations on 53rd Street, both sides between Whitby Avenue and Broomall Street, and on Whitby Avenue, both sides between 53rd Street and 52nd Street. And Bill number 220515, entitled an ordinance amending Section 9213 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Farmers Markets, by adding a permissible location on Baltimore Avenue between 58th Street and 59th Street. And Bill number 220516, entitled an ordinance establishing parking regulations on Saybrook Avenue from Melville Street to 46th Street. And Bill number 220517, entitled an ordinance authorizing the installation, ownership, and maintenance of various encroachments in the vicinity of 1 Convention Avenue. And Bill number 220518, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 123000 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled use of an automated red light enforcement system to prevent red light violations, by authorizing the installation of red light enforcement systems at the intersection of 58th and Baltimore Avenue. And Bill number 220519, entitled an ordinance authorizing the striking from City Plan number 130 and vacating of an area for municipal purposes located at the intersection of the northeasterly side of Haverford Avenue and the westerly side of Wilton Street. And Bill number 220520, entitled an ordinance amending Bill number 1280, adopted June 30, 1982, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 12900 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Parking Regulations and Penalties, and Chapter 12000 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Parking Meter Regulations and Penalties, by respectively authorizing the Streets Department to establish and revise limited time parking regulations in areas expressly provided for by special ordinances. And Bill number 220523, entitled an ordinance amending Section 12903 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Stopping, Standing, or Parking Prohibited at Certain Times, to provide for regulation of such activity along Washington Avenue in the city of Philadelphia. And Bill number 220527, entitled an ordinance amending Section 9212 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Newsstands, by adding provisions related to removal and relocation. And Bill number 220528, entitled an ordinance authorizing the relocation of curb lines of Watts Street from Pine Street to a point northwardly therefrom on City Plan number 308, and the plotting on said city plan of an area for public pedestrian use extending along the westerly side of said Pine Street, and authorizing acceptance of the grant to the city of said area for public pedestrian use. Respectfully reports that it's considered the same and returns the attached bills to council with a favorable recommendation.
Okay, take a deep breath on your behalf, Mr. Decker. Thank you. Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Parkman.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Councilmember Thomas, I move that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading of this day of the 36 bills that were just read into the record by our clerk, Mr. Decker.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly second that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of the 36 bills that were just read by the clerk. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. These bills will be placed on our first reading calendar for today. Chair now recognizes Councilman Squilla for a report from the Committee on License and Inspection.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on License Inspections reports out 3 bills with a favorable recommendation.
Mr. Decker, please read that report.
The Committee on Licenses and Inspections, to which is referred Bill number 220008, entitled An Ordinance Amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, entitled the Philadelphia Building Construction and Occupancy Code, to revise and add provisions related to investigations concerning property adjacent to or adjoining certain construction activities, and the provision of notice to owners and residents of such properties. And Bill number 220384, entitled An Ordinance Amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, entitled the Philadelphia Building Construction and Occupancy Code, to amend provisions relating to allowable time extensions on a construction permit. And Bill number 220415, entitled An Ordinance Amending Section A 703.2 of Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Special Certificate of Inspection, to include satisfaction of certain plumbing facilities and fixture requirements as means of certifying compliance with certain water quality requirements for issuance of special certificates of inspection. Respectfully reports it as considered the same and returns the attached bills to council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Chair again recognizes Councilman Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading this day of bills numbers 220008, 220384, and 220415.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit the first reading this day of bills number 220008, 220384, 220415. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and these bills will be placed on our first reading calendar today. Chair now recognizes Councilman O for a report from the Special Committee on Child Separation in Philadelphia.
Thank you very much, Council President. The Special Committee on Child Separation in Philadelphia issues a report pursuant to resolution number 220402.
Thank you. Mr. Decker, please read their report.
The Special Committee on Child Separation in Philadelphia, to which was referred resolution number 220402, entitled a resolution authorizing the Council Special Committee on Child Separation in Philadelphia to hold public hearings regarding its final report of findings and recommendations.
How you doing?
Respectfully reports that the Special Committee held a hearing as authorized by resolution number 220402 on June 2, 2022, and that the Special Committee has adopted a final report and issues the report to the Council.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Councilman L.
Thank you.
That concludes our reports from committee, and our next order of business is consideration of the calendar. I note that the bills just reported from committee with suspension of the rules have been deemed to have had a first reading, and these bills will be placed on our second reading and final passage calendar for our next session of council. As there are no additional bills on the first reading calendar, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker for a motion concerning the resolutions on the final passage calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the following resolutions on the final passage calendar. They are resolution numbers 220533, 220534, 220535, 220536, 220538, 220539, 220540, 220541, 220542, 220546, 220548, 220550, and 220551.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and second that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the resolutions just read by Councilwoman Parker. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. Motion carries, and we will consider the resolution consent agenda shortly. Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Parker for the purpose of calling up bills and resolutions on the regular second reading and final passage calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to the resolutions being considered on the consent agenda, the following resolutions and bills are being called up from the second reading and final passage calendars today. They are numbers 220474, 220547, 220049, 220360, 220361, 210677, 220221, and 220337. All other bills and resolutions are being held, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. We're going to take a brief moment for a public comment session before we hear the bills and resolutions on today's calendar. So we'll take a brief moment and we'll come back when the technology professionals have connected all of our speakers. Thank you. We'll be back briefly. Thank you. Thank you. And with that, now that everyone is connected to the meeting and before considering the resolutions and bills we have before us today, we'll consider public comment. We'll go as follows. Public comment must concern matters on the second reading and final passage calendars for possible action at a session of council. A speaker on any of those matters must sign up in order to testify. You must call 215-686-3406 by 3 p.m. the day before the session to sign up for public comment. When you call, we will take your name, your phone number, the number the legislative item you are commenting on, and whether you are in support of or against the legislation, and add your name to the list. We will telephone each person on the list during the council session and invite them to our remote meeting. Today, we will have 3 minutes to speak, but however, from time to time, that time limit may vary based on the volume of speakers. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the established time limit. So once invited to the meeting and asked to begin your testimony, a timer will be started. We will monitor your remaining time throughout your testimony. And when there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, you will be reminded of this. And once your allotted time has passed, you will be asked to conclude your remarks, and shortly thereafter, you will be muted and disconnected from the remote meeting. We also reserve the right to limit the number of speakers where repetitious comments are being made on the same subject matter, which could affect callbacks for public comment at a community meeting. Please be aware that the public meeting is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. So by continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. I want to thank you very much for your willingness to participate in democracy in Philadelphia by providing your testimony today. I'll now ask Mr. Decker, please read the first name on our list.
The first speaker we have today, Mr. President, is Peter Winslow, commenting on 220511.
Good morning. I'll state your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony. Mr. Winslow, are you connected?
Peter Winslow, are you connected?
Hello.
All right, how are you? Yeah, Mr. Winslow?
Yes.
Yes, just state your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
My name is Peter Winslow. I reside in Northwest Philadelphia. Thank you, President Clark, for this opportunity to add to the comments of my colleagues at Power and other environmental justice organizations with respect to Bill number 220511 and related matters. Last Friday, June 3rd, the New York State Legislature passed overwhelmingly the Utility Thermal Energy Network and Jobs Act with the collective support of utilities, labor, and environmentalists. This act promotes the development of thermal energy networks and provides jobs for the transitioning utility workers. Clearly, the necessary transition from reliance on fossil fuels is now happening elsewhere. Please help us help you to help PTW transition before the current business model of PTW becomes unsustainable as a matter of policy and economics. Exercise the City Council's responsibility to oversee PTW through approval of the PTW capital budget. Do not relinquish supervision of geothermal network pilot projects and other infrastructure transition projects by allowing PTW to bury such expenditures in the operating budget that you don't review, instead of displaying them in the capital budget where they can be reviewed by you with more transparency for the public. The energy transition will require financing. Fortunately, you had the vision to enact 15-1, Bill number 210956 on March 17th to create the Philadelphia Public Financial Authority, the PPFA. In the future, the PPFA will be able to help finance the clean energy transition. So now is the time to finish the job of establishing the PPFA. Please support Councilmember Green's request for an allocation in the city's fiscal year 2023 operating budget of $3 million for the startup operation of the PPFA. Please support Councilmember Green's request for authorization of $75 million in general obligation bonds for the capitalization of the PPFA. Please let Council President Clark and Mayor Kenny know that full funding for the PPFA is among your highest priorities. Please urge qualified candidates to apply for timely appointment by Mayor Kenny to the PPFA Board of Directors and do so at the website phlcouncil.com/PPFA. Thank you for your consideration of these requests.
Thank you for your testimony. We have some background noise. Was that on Mr. Winslow's phone? Okay. Sounds like it's going away. Okay. Mr. Decker, call the next name on the list. No.
It's like it's back.
Can we figure out what's going on with that background noise? Is somebody's mic open or something?
I looked at the name of the people that are connected, and they look like they're all muted.
Somebody on our team. If that's so, can you figure that out?
Looks like it's coming in from the connection. Council President will work on that.
Yeah, just want to make sure that folks in the public comments. All right, let's try it again. Mr. Decker.
Modesta, there's a number that's a 267 number. So if somebody that's connected to the meeting, they have an open mic.
All right, let's try it again.
Last four digits, 8655.
Okay.
The next speaker, Mr. President, is.
Hold on, Mr. Decker. Can we mute that from our end? All right, Mr. Decker, try it again.
Yeah, it's muted now, Mr. President.
All right, thank you.
The next speaker, Mr. President, is Lidy Rodriguez Lardigo, commenting on 220551.
Good morning. I'll state your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony. Good morning. Are you connected?
I wonder if that's the person we just muted. Lidy Rodriguez Lardigo.
That number that we have for Lidy Rodriguez Largo is a 267-258-2594.
Yeah, that's not the number we just blocked. So
is that person connected?
Yeah, we have the participant connected, Council President, but we're having an issue with our system on that side. Plus, the number has been muted. So we're going to try to reconnect again to try to get the feed up on our side there.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Decker, Serena Rose not available?
Serena is not connected, but I understand that Lidy Rodriguez is connected. However, the number that she is connected through, and all the speakers are connected through, we just muted that number because the strange sound was coming out over that. So we will have to unmute that to hear from Lidy.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I just want to give them an opportunity.
All right, unmute. Thank you.
That's fine.
Okay, I think we're ready to proceed, Council President.
Okay. Good morning. Are you connected? State your name for the record. And please proceed with your testimony. Apologize for the confusion. All right, we have challenges. Can we fix that, Modesto? Modesto, are we trying to reconnect?
She is being called, Mr. President. I see a message from Awenda.
Hello.
Hi. Yes,
Hi, how you doing?
good. Thank you. Well, finally got you on. We apologize for the technical difficulties. If you could just state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony, we appreciate it.
This is excuse me. This is for the Latin American Book Fair. That's it looks like the number 551. That is not the right resolution that I'm gonna testify. But it was the number that they gave me yesterday.
Okay. What resolution are you going to testify?
It is about the Latin American Book Fair resolution.
Okay. Then on the calendar, Mr. Decker.
Yes, it is.
You know what? Then since we've made you wait so long, you just go ahead and testify.
It is. The number is 220551, Mr. President.
Okay. Just proceed with your testimony. Hello, ma'am.
Hello?
Yeah, just go ahead and proceed with your testimony.
I'm calling to my testimony because about the resolution for the Latin American Book Fair that Councilor DBO just presented today.
Yes, go ahead. Just go ahead and testify.
Okay. I think that it's very important that we have this resolution approved because this is a very innovative community idea. And this is a very unique intercultural and multicultural literacy program. And that is we're going to share with the families that live in the Philadelphia. we start this program in 2019, and it was the first one that we did it. And it was the informal conversation between Ana Humana and Edgar Ramirez. And she just said she is a writer, a children books writer, and she said, "Where can I just show my writers?" And we just start a conversation and say why we don't have Latin American Book Fair in Philadelphia. It's not one that it has been done before. And we started this idea and just came to Councilman David O. And he said, we are going to support you. And we start doing it, just working, and we did it on October 4th. It was the first one, and we did it in the courtyard of Philadelphia. And since that, it came the pandemic, we did it online for 3 days. And last year, we did it again in the courtyard. And it's writers, designers, publishers, and we have received all this response for them. And it was like this program is a voice for the Latino community and non-Latino community that just want to share the language. So that's why we think that this is very important for the community in general, not only the Latino, but the general community, just to know how rich we have in different parts of the art and the writers. And we have involved community, we have involved non-profits, we have a sponsor for different businesses, and a lot of people that is volunteer for this event that is going to be the 4th year on September 23rd at the Law Park. And I think that you consider that is worth it for our community and in general community in Philadelphia.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it, and sorry to have the delay that we have on our behalf. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Mr. Decker.
There are no other speakers on the public comment list, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I would ask that people who are not speaking, please stay on mute. Those for the time to speak. Thank you very much. That concludes our public comment session. And we will now consider today's resolution consent agenda. And I would ask Mr. Decker to please read the titles of all the resolutions on the consent agenda. And after each title is read, any member may object to the inclusion of the resolution on the resolution consent agenda. Upon such an objection and without debate, the resolution will be immediately removed from the resolution consent agenda and placed on today's regular final passage calendar. Mr. Decker, please now read the titles of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda.
Resolution number 220533, titled a resolution adding Bryant Lamar Hurd II to the street signs on the 5200 block of North Camac Street in celebration of his life. And resolution number 220534, entitled a resolution adding DJ Diamond Cuts to the street signs on the 7100 block of Georgian Road in honor of her trailblazing work to represent women in the hip-hop industry, advancing local artists, and serve the people of Philadelphia. And resolution number 220535, entitled a resolution adding the Honorable Marion B. Tasco to the street signs on the block intersections of the 7900 block of Mansfield Avenue between Vernon Road and Slocum Street, in recognition of Councilwoman Tasco's tremendous service and contributions to the city of Philadelphia. And resolution number 220536, entitled a resolution calling on the Philadelphia Department of Public Health to exercise the full extent of its authority to address public health issues related to the sale of tobacco products, including hookah, in violation of the tobacco retailer permit provisions of the Philadelphia Code, and to mitigate the disproportionate effect of those sales in certain communities. And resolution number 220538, entitled a resolution also naming the 1700 block of North 49th Street as Ken Carter Way, in honor of Charles Kenneth Carter, a board member of the Business Association of West Parkside, who passed away on August 9, 2021. And resolution number 220539, entitled a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 650, 658, and 662 North Conestoga Street, 5436 West Girard Avenue, 5552 Harmer Street, 642, 644, and 653 North Sickle Street, 534, 538 through 40, 546 and 550 North 54th Street, 623 through 33, 641, 643, 645, 647, 649, 651, 653, and 655 North 55th Street, located in the 4th Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220540, entitled a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 1310, 1315, 1320, 1322, 1326, and 1349 South Corley Street, 3000, 3010, 3018, 3036, 3046, and 3050 Titan Street, 3002, 3003, 3009, and 3014 through 26 Wharton Street, 1537 South Patton Street, 1334 South 30th Street, and 1339 South 31st Street, located in the 2nd Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220541, entitled a resolution honoring the Father's Day Rally Committee for its long-standing leadership and dedication to the physical and emotional well-being of African American communities, and particularly men of color. And resolution number 220542, entitled a resolution recognizing June 2022 as Gun Violence Awareness Month in Philadelphia. And resolution number 220546, entitled a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to certain city-owned lots and pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon, situated in the 7th Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220548, entitled a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to 2868 Amber Street, 2022 East Fletcher Street, and 2106 East Stella Street in the 1st Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220550, entitled a resolution honoring 14 of Philadelphia's most influential Asian Pacific Americans during Asian American and Pacific Islander AAPI Heritage Month. Judge Muratani, Judge Ida Chen, Dr. Philip Jason, Hin Ho Oh, Chief Inspector Huang, Bai Sikema, Tiani Lee, Grace Iuhera, Cecilia Moy Yep, Nick Shenoy, Julie Huang, Sarah Chang, Picant Skip Valentine Jr., and Reverend Peter Huang. And resolution number 220551, entitled a resolution designating September 2022 as Multilingual Freedom Day in Latin America in recognition of the annual Latin American Book Fair event.
Is that it? Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker for a motion to adopt each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the adoption of each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and second that each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it. And each resolution on the resolution consent agenda has been adopted. We will now consider the bills and resolutions on the regular second reading and final passage calendar. And I will ask the clerk to please read this title of resolution number 220474.
A resolution approving the rebuild project statement for fiscal years 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 pursuant to bill number 170206.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
220474 be
Yeah.
removed from the calendar and referred to the Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. And I second Councilmember Bass's motion.
Okay. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that resolution number 220474 be removed from the calendar and referred to the Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
And that resolution will be referred to committee. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 220-547. Sorry.
A resolution recognizing June 6 through 11, 2022 as Disability Pride Week in the city of Philadelphia.
Chair recognizes Councilman Green.
Thank you, Council President. This week, we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Disability Pride Week here in the city of Philadelphia. I want to thank the outstanding leadership of Ms. Vicki Landers, the head of Disability Pride PA, for her work and advocacy and making sure that we're having an outstanding week of activities. We started with the flag raising on this Monday at Thomas Plain Plaza, where we actually raised the National Adapt flag at the MSB building this Monday. And the activities for this week will culminate with a march, Disability Pride March and celebration on Saturday at 11 a.m. with the opening ceremonies at Logan Square, and then a parade down to Benjamin Franklin Parkway. And we will finish at Thomas Plain Plaza, where the flag is located. In the nation, this is also 32nd anniversary of the signing of the Federal Americans with Disability Act. And we know that those that have physical and learning differences, that number has grown significantly here in our nation. About 56 million Americans, about 19% of our population, according to the most recent Census Bureau data, have some type of physical learning difference. And as chair of the Council Committee on People with Disabilities and Special Needs, it's with great pride that we celebrate this Disability Pride Week here in the city of Philadelphia, and all partners and advocates and participants. I want to thank them for their participation, for all the great activities that we've had this week for disability here in the city of Philadelphia. And then just as a point of personal privilege, many people on this body and members of the city of Philadelphia, citizens in the city of Philadelphia, know that my son, who's on the autism spectrum, I've seen him grow up as we've celebrated 10 years of Disability Pride. And the fact that he's graduating from high school next week also makes this Disability Pride Week that much more personal and also affectionate to me and family. So with that, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second. And just want to ask all our colleagues to please go on mute if you will. We were getting some feedback. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the resolution be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Have it. And that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of 220-197.
That was a last minute hold, Mr. President.
Okay. Really last minute for me. Please read the title of bill number 220049.
An ordinance amending Chapter 21,000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Political Contributions and Expenditures to add and make changes to provisions regarding campaign contributions and disclosure of political committee expenditures.
Thank you. This bill had been read on 2 different days. The question now, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Councilman Dom.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gaudier.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson.
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilwoman Kim,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Jones,
Aye.
Councilman O,
Aye.
Councilman O'Neill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Parker,
Aye.
Councilwoman Guinones Sanchez,
Aye.
Councilman Squilla,
Aye.
Councilman Thomas,
Aye.
Council President Clark.
Aye, the ayes are 16, the nays are 0. Majority of all members having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, please read the title of Bill number 220360.
An ordinance amending Chapter 2600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Standard of Conduct and Ethics by revising and extending the prohibition on retaliation and adding protections against interference with Board of Ethics proceedings.
Thank you. This bill having been read on 2 different days, the question now, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Aye.
Councilman Dom,
Aye.
Councilman Gautier,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilwoman Kim,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Jones,
Aye.
Councilman O,
Aye.
Councilman O'Neill,
Aye.
Councilman Parker,
Aye.
Councilwoman Guinones Sanchez,
Aye.
Councilman Squilla,
Aye.
Councilman Thomas,
Aye.
Council President Clark.
Aye, the ayes are 16, the nays are 0. Majority of members present voting in the affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, 220361.
An ordinance amending Chapter 21,000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Political Contributions and Expenditures to revise provisions and to make technical changes.
This bill having been read on 2 different days, the question now, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Aye.
Councilman Dom,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gautier,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson, Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilwoman Kim,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Jones,
Aye.
Councilman O,
Aye.
Councilman O'Neill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Parker,
Aye.
Councilwoman Guinones Sanchez,
Aye.
Councilman Squilla,
Aye.
Councilman Thomas,
Aye.
Council President Clark.
Aye, the ayes are 16, the nays are 0. Majority of members present voting in the affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, 210677.
An ordinance amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code entitled the Philadelphia Building Construction and Occupancy Code by modifying when notice must be given regarding demolitions.
This bill having been read on 2 different days, the question now, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Aye.
Councilman Dom,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gautier,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilwoman Kim,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Jones,
Aye.
Councilman O,
Aye.
Councilman O'Neill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Parker,
Aye.
Councilwoman Guinones Sanchez,
Aye.
Councilman Squilla,
Aye.
Councilman Thomas,
Aye. Sorry, aye.
Council President Clark.
Aye, the ayes are 16, the nays are 0. Majority of members present voting in affirmative, the bill passes.
The next bill, Mr. President, 210740, that was on the docket and scripted is being held. That was a last minute hold.
Thank you.
Apologize.
It's not your fault. Thank you, Mr. Decker. Please read the title 220-221.
An ordinance amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, the Philadelphia Building Construction and Occupancy Code, by revising Section PM 202 of Subcode PM, the Philadelphia Property Maintenance Code, entitled General Definitions, to revise definitions related to drinking fountains and water dispensers, and revising Section PM 502.6 of Subcode PM entitled Schools, to add provisions related to drinking facilities in schools and requiring filtration systems.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Gimm for an amendment to Bill number 220-221.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I would like to offer an amendment to Bill number 220-221. A copy of this amendment has been circulated to all members of council. I move for the adoption of the amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. In favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it, and Bill number 220-221 has been amended. Bill number 220-221 as amended will be placed on our second reading and final passage calendar at our next session of council. Mr. Decker, please read 220-337.
An ordinance amending Title IX of the Philadelphia Code entitled Regulation of Businesses, Trades, and Professions by adding a new chapter entitled Employee Commuter Transit Benefit Programs. Requires certain employers to provide a mass transit and bicycle commuter benefit program.
This bill has been read on 2 different days. The question now, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Councilman Dom.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gautier.
Aye.
Aye.
Councilwoman
sorry.
Gilmore Richardson.
Aye. Sorry about that, Councilmember Gaudier.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gimm.
Aye.
Councilman Johnson.
Aye.
Councilman Jones.
Aye.
Councilman O.
Aye.
Councilman O'Neill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Parker.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilman Squilla.
Aye.
Councilman Thomas.
Aye.
Council President Clark.
Aye, the ayes are 16 and nays are 0. Majority of members present. Voting in affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, you have any additional resolution?
A resolution authorizing the Special Committee on Gun Violence Prevention to conduct hearings to examine the city's response to the ongoing crisis of gun violence in Philadelphia, introduced today by Councilman Johnson.
Chair recognizes Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
And a resolution honoring and congratulating world champion boxer and philanthropist Bernard Hopkins on his upcoming induction into the Boxing Hall of Fame, introduced today by Councilman Dom.
Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to move for the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it. That resolution is adopted.
A resolution authorizing the Streets and Services Committee to hold public hearings to examine the social and economic justice factors involved in potential redesign options of the Roosevelt Boulevard, one of the most dangerous roads in Philadelphia and the country, to make the boulevard a road where all Philadelphians can safely commute to home, school, and work, introduced today by Councilman Thomas.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Thomas.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
There are no other resolutions on the final passage calendar, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Decker. We will now consider the bills and resolutions on the suspension calendar. Mr. Decker, if you can please read the title of Bill number 200006A.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the City of Philadelphia of an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to provide for a preference in civil service examinations for any qualified graduate of a career technical education program in the School District of Philadelphia, as approved by resolution of the City Council.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson for a motion on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill number 20006A be moved from the suspension calendar to the final passage calendar for the next session of council.
Duly seconded.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that bill number 200006A be moved to the suspension calendar to the final passage calendar for the next session of council. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carried. And bill number 200006A will be placed on our final passage calendar at our next session of council. Mr. Decker, please read the title of bill number 200007.
An ordinance amending Chapter 201100 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Civil Service Preferences to provide for a civil service preference for qualified graduates of career technical education programs in the School District of Philadelphia.
Thank you. The chair again recognizes Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson for the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that bill number 200007 be moved from the suspension calendar to the final passage calendar for the next session of council.
Duly seconded.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that bill number 200007 be moved from the suspension calendar to the final passage calendar for the next session of council. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion, ayes have it. Motion carries. The bill number 200007 will be placed on our final passage calendar at our next session of council. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 200040.
A resolution proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter providing for a preference in civil service examinations for any qualified graduate of a career technical education program in the School District of Philadelphia.
Thank you. Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that resolution number 200040 be moved from the suspension calendar to the final passage calendar for the next session of council.
Duly seconded.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the resolution number 200040 be moved from the suspension calendar to the final passage calendar for the next session of council. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. The resolution number 200040 will be placed on our final passage calendar at our next session of council. That completes our calendar for today. And prior to recognizing members for speeches, I would note for the record at the time that we will use the chat feature available on Microsoft Teams to allow members to signify that they wish to be recognized. In order to comply with the Sunshine Act, the chat feature must only be used for this particular purpose. So, speeches on behalf of the minority. Don't see any today. Speeches on behalf of the majority. Chair recognizes Councilman Green.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to remind colleagues that we have a very engaged Finance Committee hearing today at 1 o'clock regarding a number of important topics. And we look forward to getting that hearing started, but it will last for some time because of a number of important issues on today's calendar for the Finance Committee. As a member of this body, I know we've all been struggling dealing with the issues of gun violence that have plagued not only our nation, our state, but also our city. And many of us, all of us, have been really plagued by this issue, especially in reference to the most recent incident that happened South Street, where 3 people were killed and 11 were wounded. And this is an issue that has impacted so many of us in our day-to-day travels. And in addition to serving as a member of this body, I also serve on the board of Girard College. And if any of you had a chance to read today's Inquirer, you got a chance to read about one of the people that tragically lost their life in the South Street mass shooting, resident advisor at Girard College by the name of Christopher Minners. And I'm glad the Inquirer provided a profile on Christopher. And we at the board of Girard College and all the staff and family really are mournful in reference to this tragic loss of life. And we released a statement. I just want to provide a little background and perspective on that statement for those of you who did not get a chance to read the article in today's Inquirer. The Girard College community was shocked and saddened to learn that Christopher Minners, a current resident advisor and former student, was killed in a tragic shooting on South Street on Saturday night. An innocent bystander, Chris had just turned 22 and was celebrating with family and friends. He attended Girard College until 9th grade, and since January of this year has worked in our residential advisor program advising 6th and 2nd grade boys. Our hearts are broken for Christopher and his family, and our hearts and thoughts are with everyone who's been impacted by this appalling act of violence. Christopher was so proud to return to Girard College and serve as a role model to the young boys in his care. He was doing an amazing job for Girard College, and he was also named Resident Advisor of the Month in March. Chris was a vital member of the Girard College community, and his loss will be felt very deeply. We've all seen too much violence in the news, but when it hits home like this, it becomes so much more real. Girard College will continue to lend our voice in the conversation to enact meaningful gun reform. Please keep Chris and his family in your prayers. This is a sad day for all in the Girard College community. And that's some of the excerpts from the statement released by our interim president earlier this week. This is an issue that we're all continuing to deal with, and it's something that touches all of us in many ways. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Sad story, very sad. Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Columbine, Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook, Parkland, Fort Hood, Waco, Charleston, San Bernardino, Orlando, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, New York, Buffalo, and now Philadelphia. Gun violence is not just a Philly problem, it is a national problem. When South Street happened, it just brought it all home that we have to join state and federal actions to help give us in Philadelphia the tools to prevent these kinds of mass shootings. In addition to the cities that I named, thus far in this year, over 200 mass shootings that didn't make the headlines, didn't make the front page, but were impactful where they were, none the same. So at the federal level, we're now taking seriously gun laws that would be moderate, that instead of 18-year-olds being able to have high-capacity long guns, high-capacity magazines, that maybe they should wait until they're 21, closer to the time where all of our brains mature. Maybe God forbid, a waiting period that says not the day after your birthday, but maybe 3 days after we take a while so that it's not a knee-jerk reaction to some emotional thing you were responding to. 3-day waiting period. In addition, we could, at the state level, allow the city of Philadelphia to implement lost and stolen gun laws that we passed in 2019. So that if you lose a cell phone, you lose a car, you report it. But a weapon with the capacity to take lives, that's okay to lose. I do not understand that. Red flag laws, which we passed also, this body passed in 2019, we need to enforce. When someone on Monday tells you they are dangerous, that they're going to inflict harm on others, whether in a school, a church, or a shopping mall, we should believe that. We should fill out a petition sworn before a judge to remove temporarily those guns from any household, any location, until they've had time to come before a judge to demonstrate that they are not a danger to themselves and to others. Common sense things like what Member Gilmore is talking about. These shooters are getting younger. And yeah, it might be an inconvenience to take kids off of the street earlier, but it may just save their lives. But one of the things that I would like to pursue is something my colleague, Councilwoman Bass, talked about. She said something so profound that I'm giving the credit. I told her I would attempt to plagiarize it if she didn't actualize it. What do you do when the shooter lives with you? Say it again. It was so profound, it stopped me in my tracks. What do you do when the shooter lives with you? And I'm paraphrasing, she can speak for herself, but what it said that if you are a part of raising a child and you choose to be their friend as opposed to their parent, that responsibility is a dangerous undertaking when you know in that room might be a weapon. When I heard her say that, it just made so much sense because of the volatile age of these young people. And our responsibility as parents to be parents, you are not their best friend. You are their parents. And sometimes if we take that initiative, we can save them from themselves. So whatever you do with that, remember, Bass, I want to do it with you. It is so profound. It begins to take a deeper dive into our community's responsibility to this problem. I had an offhanded conversation with the mayor in passing, and one of the things we pointed out, 2 of those individuals in that shootout on South Street had permits to carry. One of them should not have gotten that permit to carry. And we need to kind of look a little deeper, take a little closer look than to have these permits passed out like that. Because again, without training, without any oversight to make sure you know not to shoot into crowds, a lot of people think just because they have a permit to carry, that makes them Clint Eastwood. It does not. You are still liable for life. And we need to take a look at those laws as well. But I want to thank my colleagues for stepping up into this space, more and more, being more active in the area of gun violence. More voices make us not single voices, but a choir that must be heard. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Chair recognizes Councilman Thomas. Councilwoman Bass, did you want to?
Yeah.
Point of order.
I just wanted to give a point of information. I wanted to thank the councilman for making mention of our office's new initiative. What do you do when a shooter lives with you? And the idea behind that is that what do you do when you walk into your say your 16-year-old son's room, or even now, even younger, when you walk into their room, you flip over the mattress and you find a gun. Because most parents are not going to call the police on their 16-year-old that they found a gun in their room. They're going to try to handle it themselves. They're going to try to figure out, get rid of the gun. They're going to do a whole bunch of things. And the question is, what are the right things that we all need to do? Because on any given day, this could be any one of our children that has access and has the possession of a firearm. And so most of these shooters are living at home with someone. They're living with a parent, a grandparent, a guardian, some caregiver. They're living with someone. And so we really have to dig deep and answer that question. When we know that someone, or when we find that someone has a firearm, what should the action be of the caregiver so that we can get those guns out of their hands and get them into to the appropriate help that they need and redirect that energy. So I want to thank my colleague for making mention of that initiative. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
I recognize Councilman Thomas.
Thank you, Council President. Technically, it's still morning, so good morning, everybody. I just wanted to make a few brief remarks as well as a few announcements. The first thing, similar to what my colleagues talked about around the gun violence, is such a sad state of affairs that we're in. But I appreciate everybody on this legislative body, as well as our partners in Harrisburg, who I had the opportunity to discuss a number of things with yesterday, for advocating, fighting, and doing what we have to do as it relates to assuring that resources and dollars are available for the programs and items that we know work. I specifically want to thank U.S. Senator Bob Casey for meeting with the same young people who rallied outside City Hall just a few days ago to communicate their concerns as it relates to the gun violence in the city, to discuss the survey as well as their findings. And in the future, they'll be offering recommendations. And I had an opportunity to listen to some of their recommendations, as well as their questions that took place earlier this week. And I, remember the words of Orlando specifically, who just wanted to know, when are we going to see some progress? This is a sixth grader at Aspera who just wanted to know, when are we going to see some progress as it relates to fighting this gun violence crisis? There were a lot of thoughtful young people, a lot of great comments and recommendations. And this council body, through the Children and Youth Committee, will be holding a hearing to be able to give those young people an opportunity to communicate everything that they think that we need to hear as adults as it relates to the gun violence here in the city of Philadelphia and across the country. And that hearing will be next week, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I also wanted to take a moment to make a few announcements. Tomorrow in City Hall in the courtyard, we will be having a rally and welcome home event for Hassan Reddick. For those who don't know, Hassan Reddick was just signed by the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a graduate of Temple University. He grew up in Camden, so this is a collaborative effort with our neighbors across the bridge. And this is an example of one of the things that we try to do as it relates to this legislative body, to give as many young people as we can positive experiences. We have young people across the city of Philadelphia that will be coming to City Hall tomorrow, not just to meet Hassan Reddick, but also, more importantly, to hear his story and his journey as it relates to where he started and how he got to where he is. Like I say all the time, we will never know who we inspire or how many lives we save when we do this work and we give young people an opportunity to be involved and interact with something that's positive, which is why I've been fighting throughout the course of this budget season for more resources and more free programming and positive experiences for our children. This Saturday, we talk a lot about the cleanliness and issues around dumping in the city of Philadelphia. As the chair of the Streets and Services Committee, along with the Streets Department, my colleague, Councilmember Kendra Brooks, and a number of different partners, we're going to be hosting our second annual citywide cleanup tomorrow, Saturday, at 11 a.m. At Marie Winchester Recreation Center in North Philadelphia. So we're really excited about that. We encourage people to come out, take advantage, and get some supplies to help assure that your neighborhood stays clean. So we're excited about that. And that event starts this Saturday at 10 a.m. Last but not least, I'm extremely excited that this week I announced the details for my 10th annual Isaiah Thomas and Chris Woods basketball camp. For those who are not familiar, the majority of the young people who come to the camp actually aren't basketball fans, but in the spirit of making sure that we have free quality programming in the summer, this year we're going to increase it to 3 weeks. And again, the program is free. We will be doing 1 week in Councilmember Maria Keone Sanchez's district. We will do another week in Councilmember Johnson's district, which is something I promised them before the pandemic. So we're excited to be in South Philly this summer. And of course, we'll be doing the third week in my community in our signature location, Finley Recreation Center, which is the district of Councilmember Parker. So I appreciate all of my council colleagues for supporting all of these efforts, but especially the free programming for the young people, because as long as we can continue to offer them positive experiences, we will do our part as it relates to making sure that they are involved in prevention-based initiatives. So thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Council President. And if anybody is interested in any of the initiatives that I just talked about, feel free to reach out to my office and my team, as we are looking forward to the great work that's going to be done, not just this weekend, but over the summer. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to the mayor and his team for being a part of the rally tomorrow with Hassan Reddick, as well as the mayor of Camden, who will be joining us as well. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you. Thank you for the great work. Chair recognizes Councilman Down.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to recognize all the hard work put forth by the American Jewish Committee of Philadelphia. Last Friday, we held a anti-Semitism educational training for city employees. It was entitled "The Many Faces of Anti-Semitism and the Tools to Defeat It." We had more than 110 city employees attend the virtual event. It's pretty amazing, including many department commissioners, staff at all levels. As one of the city's largest employers, I really want to commend the employees who attended the event to better inform themselves about this important topic. And in the course of serving our residents and businesses every day, information was really great. I think it's really, really important that we continue to elevate these issues and help bring them to the forefront. The training was led by AJC members Marsha Bronstein, Hillary Levine, and Holly Huffnagel. They taught us that anti-Semitism is more than just blatant acts of violence or blatant words of hate, but often comes in the form of conspiracy theories. These theories frequently paint Jews as shadowy figures in power responsible for the tragedies of other groups. Jews make up 2% of the U.S. population, but are the targets of 55% of all religious bias crimes in the United States and over 8% of all hate crimes. The groups targeting Jews also take great efforts to target other marginalized and minority communities. It's vital that these communities remain united in the fight against hatred and bigotry and call attention to it wherever it arises. I truly hope we can keep this information top of mind as we do our important work in the public space. Again, I want to thank AJC, my staff who did tremendous work, and all the city employees who took part in this event, and we look forward to holding additional events in the future. Also wanted to mention something I know this body is tracking, but the public should be aware of, and that's the Pennsylvania General Assembly, which continues to debate and negotiate their budget. I urge our Philadelphia delegation to continue to argue for the use of federal dollars to fund our health and substance use disorder treatment facilities and provide the needed resources, especially to Philadelphia, in order to combat the opioid epidemic that is ravaging communities like Kensington. We also need everyone's help in being as loud as possible in our call for the Assembly to support our violence prevention strategies. Philadelphia didn't set the rules that allow these guns and weapons of destruction here, nor did we pull funding from our schools and safety nets. The state must step up for us right here and right now. Also want to mention on Saturday, Council President, I took the subway from City Hall to K&A by myself. I will also share the experience. The subway was impeccably clean. Impeccably. So were the stations. So were the people who were working for SEPTA, very hospitable. And I was in the subway. The subway was crowded, impeccable. Get off at Kensington, Allegheny. I drove by on the subway of Huntington and Somerset, clean. As soon as I got down from K&A subway stop, the trash was all over the place. People were dipping, people were injecting themselves. I walked down that block to Somerset and saw everything that is really the humanitarian crisis that we've been talking about. I know Councilman Jones was up there last week too, and we talked about it. It is just a terrible thing that we need to help Council Members Sanchez and Squilla combat. So I'm 100% wanting to help them get this under control. I appreciate everything, and thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Chair recognizes Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Council President. And I'll be brief. Just want to enter the sentiments of my colleagues around the state of Philadelphia, where we're at as it relates to senseless gun violence. And I want to give a shout out to Kendra Brooks, who led a violence prevention, anti-gun violence rally with an emphasis on addressing the issue of trauma and community engagement, and her part of the city in which she represents. I think that's Nicetown, to be correct. This afternoon, I will be meeting with some advocates to look at ideas and recommendations on, again, how do we continue to re-examine how we're addressing senseless gun violence here in the city of Philadelphia. I just had a double homicide in Wilson Park, part of my district, which I'll be at also this upcoming Monday to address residents' issues and concerns. But most importantly, making sure that if we want to address this issue, we have to have community involvement and community buy-in, because they are the people who are on the ground day in and day out addressing this issue. And they have their ears to the ground, and most importantly, can provide information on how we can best address this issue from a city standpoint. So I just want to echo all the sentiments of my colleagues and also thank everyone for participating and stepping up, because at the end of the day, we all going to have to roll up our sleeves to address this very critically and important issue. As we also go through this process, I want to just reiterate, when I'm out and about talking to my constituents, I have a lot of seniors and also homeowners and also renters who are on edge about the up and coming property reassessment increase in their tax bills. And so I know as a body, We also have always taken that in strong consideration in terms of how we produce public policy and making sure we're protecting those who are most vulnerable. And with that being said, Council President, just thank you for your leadership as well. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you all. I believe that's all of the speeches on behalf of the minority and the majority today. I want to follow up on a little housekeeping. We have around 4 or 5 days to come to some consensus on budget matters, as the councilman just referenced. So please be available. Maybe at a moment's notice at a call, a teams get together, because we don't have a lot of time. We have to conclude our business. Again, thank you all very much. And right now, the chair recognizes Councilman Jones for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that council stand adjourned until Thursday, June 16th, 2022 at 10 a.m.
Second.
Thank you. Moving properly second, the council stand adjourned until Thursday, June 16th, 2022 at 10 a.m. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Please be safe. Love you guys.